Hi, shalom friends. A one-time event that happened, and will never happen again, is the revelation on Mount Sinai. God takes the nation out of Egypt, brings them to a mountain, splits the heavens, and he speaks to them face to face. And each and every one of them hears, absorbs, understands, affirms. And here we are, some over 3,300 years later. And amongst the many comments of the rabbis, they point out, why would God give the Torah? Why would he reveal himself in a wilderness? After all, we call it the desert of Sinai. Especially when we realize that from the beginning of time, when God already told Abraham that he's choosing him as the father of a great nation, he promised him the land of Canaan 3 times. He promised him the land of Israel. And in the Bible, in the Chumash, the land of Israel is known as the land of milk and honey, a beautiful land, a wonderful land, a fertile land. So take them out of Egypt, bring them into the land, and give them their constitution, give them their law. Why give them the law? Why reveal himself in a place which is so inhospitable? It's terrible. You know, we're used to contrast, hot, cold, sweet, bitter. If I told you a land of milk and honey, contrast, a wilderness. It's almost the direct opposite. So amongst the many learned lessons, there's one beautiful lesson I want to share with you from the Rabbi. By prefacing it with the following. The human has many tendencies. We're attracted to many different things. And often through habit almost, we could accustom ourselves to do things. But when it comes to the mind, it's amazing. If you do not want to understand something, you won't, no matter how well it is explained. And we see this for a fact. I mean, we see this by our children, where I can't stand physics, I don't understand mathematics, I hate geography. And then you suddenly say to them, you know what, if you do this and that, I'll give you a reward. Or perhaps you introduce exciting videos and so on, and suddenly they're interested. And many of them become quite proficient. You say, 1 second, I thought you could not understand. And ultimately, it's not you could not understand, I did not want to understand. So what makes a person want? And to put it very simply, the way the Talmud says it is, a person should study what he wants to study, where he wants to study. Because if the will is not there, then the mind literally will not function. We actually pray, make the words of Torah sweet. What does sweet have to do with knowledge? We don't ask, we're not that interested in science being sweet or electricity or any other, because to understand, you have to want to understand. And again, we have so many stories of some of the most outstanding sages of Israel who started life with mediocre intelligence. If you gave them an IQ test, they wouldn't be ranking very high. But their sincere desire to understand Torah and their diligence in it actually opened up their mind. So now we have to sort of shift a little bit the conversation and ask, okay, we could accept that the desire to understand will help understanding, will open up understanding, but what causes desire? Why should I want to do something? And again, though there's complexity, I'll make it quite simple. It gives you pleasure. So if you know that something will give you pleasure, you have a desire to achieve it. So now let's go back to the Torah. The Torah is something we study, something that from the study it goes into practice. So we could say we study Torah, we perform the mitzvahs of the Torah. How can we do that? We could do that when we desire to do that. Why do we desire to do that? Because it gives us pleasure. So the very, very frank discussion that you might have with yourself and certainly with others, if you ever ask yourself, are you happy being Jewish? If you had a choice, would you have chosen, of course this is a theoretical question, but would you have chosen not to be Jewish? I mean, we know that once we are Jewish, we cannot change our spiritual DNA or our physical DNA. But theoretically speaking, if you could recreate yourself, would you recreate yourself as a Jew or not? Well, the answer that you'll give yourself will give you the answer whether or not you find Judaism and the practice and service to God enjoyable or not. If it's enjoyable, it's meaningful, I will choose this, even though perhaps it's difficult. If I don't find it enjoyable, then I won't. So God gives the Torah in a desert. What is he saying? He's saying the Torah should be your enjoyment. There's nothing else out here. No beautiful lands, no wonderful fragrances, no special restaurants. There's nothing here. It's a wilderness. But I give you the Torah. Listen. And it says actually at that time, when they heard the Torah, that they expired in ecstasy to bring it down to the nitty-gritty. We know from the Chumash, from the Bible, God says that the animals should not graze on the mountain. And according to the tradition, flowers grew. Now you say to yourself, it's a wilderness. Since when is there a verdant mountain? So what do we say? A miracle. God is choosing a mountain as a staging, as a prop almost, so he could project his will on the people, and their people should accept it, right? So therefore Hashem also made the miracle of it being fully alive and beautiful. But let's go a step deeper. What God was telling the people is, it's a place of Torah will bring beauty, it will bring pleasure, and once again I'll use the word, it will bring meaning. And when there's meaning in life, there's enjoyment as well. So my friends, we're going to be celebrating very, very soon the holiday of Revelation. It's time for us to embrace it, not out of duty or obedience, but to truly appreciate the gift that God gave us, the gift of Torah. King David expressed it so beautifully. He said, were it not to have been the Torah my delight, I would have perished with all of my troubles and misfortunes. But the Torah has given me not only life, but a reason to live and an enjoyment of life. So enjoy life and enjoy the Torah that gives us the life.